Mejor no.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Today we are with Orlando Giraldo. He's joining us from Canada. Hello, Orlando. What's up, man? How are you doing?
Hello, Hernan. How are you? It has been a long time. I
Yes,
was looking
welcome
forward
back.
to your
Welcome back.
podcast. Thank you.
It's your third time in our podcast.
It's the third time in the podcast. Yeah,
Yes.
so people can
Yes.
search my name. What's my name? What's my name?
Orlando Giraldo. Yes, welcome back, man. Welcome back. I hope everything is fine. Today we're going to talk about filmmaking once again with you. So, can you start by telling us or reminding us actually who Orlando Giraldo is? What drew you into this industry after studying something completely different? And yeah, you know the rest of the story. So, go ahead. People want
Yeah,
to hear about
here.
you.
So I have degree in sport sciences from the Technological University of Pereira, Colombia. I'm Colombian Canadian. I'm a film director. I'm a member of the Directors Guild of Canada. And I started film when I was around 12 years old, trying to do family videos and things like that. Nobody taught me by myself, and then I live life. I have a family, and then at some point in my life, film bumped into my life, and decided, and I discovered that I was my real passion. When I look at my picture when I was 13 years old, carrying a Sony camera, and it has been an 8 years since then. And we did all of our films. Good news, this is news. Had some awards. Pagans, Bill, and all that stuff got awards. So we're going in the right track and trying to continue evolving within the industry.
All right, I right. I remember. I remember we spoke about, among others, but we spoke about Clash
Yeah,
on our first two episodes. You want to remind us what Clash is about? Was that your
yeah,
first? Was that your first production
yeah.
or
So we did. I started working with Dmitry Dolgov, another filmmaker. We did around. There's like a short web series called Change All, which was like our first exercise of filmmaking, and then I decided to venture into my own, which is Clash. And I wrote Clash, and it became like this big thing. And then we did also the Green Triangle with Dimitri, selected in the Sochi Film Festival a few years ago. Then we parted ways with Dimitri. We went to different directions in terms of film. Clash won different awards, around 35 selections, and it was selected in different festivals. In fact, I was very surprised. In Copilot from Microsoft, I was trying to look up myself, and there's even reviews of the film. You definitely, if you Google my name online, Orlando Giraldo, you can just find what my taste of film is like. There's a review of Clash, even there are people like the fights, about the fights. It's a love letter to uh, action films from the 70s and the 80s, and it was just doing with love, a simple story. We may do an update on the film. There's a couple of things that people ask me about the cop who is dead, so we're going to do a little of an update, and maybe we're going to do a behind the scenes. I have a lot of material to do a behind the scenes, and now I probably be able to do it, but that's Clash. And then we did other two projects that I can go on if you want to hear more about that.
Of course, Orlando. But first, I wanted to ask you. Now, in brackets, I want to say that we have already about 200 people watching us. So, welcome everybody to Hernan's
Welcome,
podcast.
welcome, welcome.
Today, we are with Orlando Giraldo. He's a filmmaker. What was it to write in English, being your second language? When you arrived to Canada, did you know English already? And if you did, what was this? Is this considered academic writing, or what kind of writing is it?
I, I think you have to understand that everyday English is what one thing is when you I study in Colombia, in Colombo Americano in Pereira, where I come from a city called Pereira, Colombia, with the city, the triangle called. And I did study English. It was more grammar. Grammar has not never been my best assets, and I was kind of good in Spanish when I was back there. But at the beginning, you kind of learn everything, and kind of you have to relearn, because one thing is living the academia of English, and one is like living, like studying and then living. So it takes years to switch that mode to you become a hybrid. Basically, you ask me, you become a hybrid between English and Spanish. So sometimes I was recently in Colombia, and it was hard for me to not to talk in Spanish, but it just I use you have the tendency to forget some words because you don't use them often, and then you fill them with the English words or a version of the Spanish word, the English. So you kind of have that little gap between the English and Spanish. So when you become a hybrid, that's your question. Writing English is more natural for me right now because I've been half of my life in Canada. My grammar is not perfect, but I can definitely do writing. I can do writing English and probably understand more the ideology and the I think idiosyncrasies of the Canadian culture, and not perfectly, but I know a lot of it because I've been here for a while and I understand a lot of the culture. And Colombia is a little bit difficult because Colombian culture has changed a lot in the last probably 20 years. So writing Colombia, writing the television is a little bit different. So it's easier for me to write in English, but if they write, I can write in both languages. It's not gonna be perfect, but I can do it in both. It's gonna be a hybrid, but sometimes that's where you work with other people who help you definitely to improve and polish those scripts.
Oh yes, 100%, 100%. I find it more difficult at some stages. Where it depends on what I'm writing on, but
Yep.
if I'm writing politics, then I definitely prefer Spanish. But if I'm writing topics related to education, which is my main field, I
Hmm.
definitely prefer English. So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
You
Politics,
come
I don't have an opinion.
yeah, that's better. That's I wish I didn't have one, but yeah, that's better. Now going back to your projects, which of your projects you would you say was the more challenging and why? And I think this is the opportunity if you want to tell us more about your recent productions after
Um,
Clash.
yeah. So we Clash obviously was like my learning process and self discovery as a director because you don't come with the tools to be a director. You have to kind of it's within you. And nobody told me to be. I saw a lot of acting classes, and I kind of learned doing that, and just by practicing, doing auditions, looking at actors, looking at films. But that's something that you learn with the process. I mean, it was two different stages. Clash, I did everything by myself to demonstrate as I could do it. I was able to still paint. I was able to have the shot and invest in my own film to make it happen. And the rest of the projects were more something that I was trying to create a CV, a resume of filmmaking because nobody knew who I was. So I was just doing my own projects and I was trying to do with other people. That has his set of challenges. So I was trying to do two different projects at the same time. And what happens when people get into film, they just think that it's just the initial idea, and then I ended up working in these two projects and these three projects to end them. I ended up editing, doing all the sound, all that stuff because the people would not want to invest money or they would not continue. But at the same time, that made me a much better editor, made me a much better colorist, made me learn about sound, and I know finally we got some awards for all our films that we produce. All of them has been selected and had awards. So we're on the right track, and something learned. There's a lot of bigger things to come, and much better quality.
100%, 100%. Orlando, I just have just curiosity. Is it similar in Canada compared to Colombia that you need to have the contacts and you need to know the right people in order to succeed and to emerge in any industry? In Ireland, it happens pretty much the same thing. So I was just wondering if Canada is a bit similar.
Well, I have more friends in the industry in Colombia right now. I know a few people like Edilsa Beltran, Gustavo Acosta, who's a journalist in the city of Pereira, and another another Hernan that I know. So definitely, like, there's like a more difficult way in Colombia to do. I mean, it's very similar. It's just here it's yeah, who you know, but it doesn't. I know people, but that doesn't guarantee you success because there's a number of variables now with the DEI. I mean, I'm gonna get a little bit political here. I try not to, but it's more difficult for somebody like me. I'm a man. I'm a white Caucasian Latino, and now we have all these identity politics and diversity and equality and inclusion policies, which I respect deeply, and I think they're a principle of having access. But sometimes um, when they use it as proxy to hire people, you can do this in many ways in Colombia. Here is a little bit more difficult for somebody like me who is a guy. Uh, to be have access to opportunities, but at the same time that will propel you to increase the quality of your product and then show everything based on talent, and keep pursuing it, because if you are good in what you do, whatever you do, you will be able to pursue if you keep going, you know.
Yes, 100%, 100%. I totally agree with that. Although, I don't know, like it all depends. Everybody's luck is different, I'd say, and in some industries, you do find that it is about you, who you know, and not what you do.
Yeah, I will
It's
say that's
very very common in Colombia, and I found it surprisingly to me. I found it very common here in Ireland, for example. If you know the right people, then chances are you'll get through. Come here, with all the changes in the film industry. I know the industry is going through a lot of changes, especially with the immersion of artificial intelligence. We'll talk about that later. But how do you stay inspired and keep your projects like with that bit of creativity that you've always put into them?
I mean, basically with these new tools of AI, I don't know if I should talk about it right now, but it's just there's a shift in the industry, because I work in the industry as a crew for 2 3 years, like with the main big tire A productions. I made amazing actors, and there's a lot of technicians, and a lot of those jobs are going to go away. But at the same time, I think that um, if you want to make a film, it's you are the content creator. You have to just you have all the tools with Zora and all these apps to create your own thing. You have more access to tools, empower the people to do their films if you keep doing it. But I think film as an art is going to go back to be the art of filmmaking, and we're going to go to the small shops, the small special gatherings where film is a culture, because film is still a culture. It's just in terms of the mass people going to films is a different story. That these companies are for profit. All the studios are made for profit, and they want to create something, so they entertain the audiences. And the film in terms of culture is going to go back to film, because film cannot be altered. If you have a film in film, like original film, that cannot be altered. You have an AI image, and they can, let's say the woman is showing her breast, they can just put something to cover it up. They can change the words. But if you have the original media film, that cannot be altered. So I think that we're gonna have a mix of both in the industry, and content creation. You become your own master on your own content creation, and using the tools of AI is gonna use. But a lot of jobs are gonna go away.
You think they are really going to go away, or would you say that people would have to update and upgrade their skills and just do things a bit different compared to what they're doing at the moment?
Well, there's technology that is advancing, especially like I was checking the AI yesterday, just searching myself, and the AI from Microsoft was giving me a review of my own film. And I was like, with the data available, the training, um, the AI algorithm are training with the information that you input in the system, and these things are kind of the computer learning it's learning to analyze films, and they have access to all the data, and they can will create you with to create your own opinions. I think there's a lot of jobs like lighting, like a lot of things that are gonna go away, because these machines like Sora, like we just see they can create people, like background is gone, the background performers or the extras that we call in the past are gone, because they can be created digitally. So they don't need as many people. They don't need to. So in a lot of jobs that are related with that specific jobs, like an assistant director who's in charge of the background, well, you don't need that anymore because you can create that digitally. The makeup artists, like, no, it's gonna be a makeup. All the makeup artists related with background, they're gonna go away. There's like LED lights, screens, and environments that you can create whatever you want. So you don't have to think about the light, but the light, because this AI environments of the studios, you can just create an environment you want, and you don't have to worry much about the light because it's going to be designed digitally, so you can put your actors in there in the real world. So all these things are changing. All the gaffers are going to go away. So it's gonna shrink the size of the industry. Even the digital artists are kind of, some of them are gonna go away because if you I just look at the Matrix a few days ago, and this I'm talking about 1998, 1999 when the Matrix came out, and still, to I don't know how many years later, the effects still well, because it was a mix between practical effects and digital effects. Now the effects have decreased the quality in the Hollywood films to my view.
And talking about, you just introduced our following topic, talking about layoffs, like when people lose their jobs and stuff. Uh, we heard last year, I'd say around September, about the strike. The strike in your industry. There was, I think it was a 5-month strike from
Yeah.
writers.
So,
Yes.
so it was the WAES is World, the Writers of America West, and you're talking about something that is a little bit politics and something a little bit about film, like Hollywood. And there's different topics right here. One of them is, it's there all the studios, or now a lot of corporations have to, there's this fund of they have the culture of gender identity or race or whatever you want to call that. So they have to create content in order to receive money from these funds.
Uh-huh.
So they created all this content, LGBTQ plus, or women, or race-based content that they wanted to fill, you know, the boxes, and that backfired them in a big way. So studios like Disney lost a lot of money with it's well documented that they lose money with Indiana Jones, with the last movie of Indiana Jones. The Marvels lose a lot of money, so the studios lost a lot of money, and they don't want to invest. And they're writing because they write everybody because of their whatever race or whatever. I mean, it should be more about merit of your own work, and not because you have gender. Or it has to be anything. I think it has to be more. I'm becoming political here. It has to be based of your on your work, right? Not filling the boxes. And they have all these writers that never have experience with the materials and all the marbles, or they wanted to fill a political agenda. And the audience was not, the people don't just want a movie to be entertained. They don't want to be exposed to a political idea, which respectable or unrespectable it is. So that's what happened with the studios. The studios lost a lot of profit, and a lot of studios are for sale. Panama was trying to merge with um, with Warner Brothers. The only thing people who is doing well in the industry, even Warner, lost a lot. Like in Spy, they did a lot of money with Barbie. They did like $1.2 billion. They lost money. So the only people studio who is making, or the streaming service who's making money, is Netflix for now. But all the studios, all of them lost money because of all they were trying to push these agendas, rightly false, just trying to get what they thought the audience wanted. Then the audience, obviously, they showing the profits and they didn't want to see that kind of content. They want to just watch a movie where they just enjoy themselves, and they just want to be entertained. They don't want to be exposed to any political ideas or whatever your gender or your race is. People don't care about that. They just want to watch a good movie.
That's it. Yes, but when did the writers go on strike then?
It was March, but as I
Okay.
said, but to explain this, I have to explain that because the
Yes, yes.
writers, so a lot of writers who did not, they just got there because of whatever, and instead of the quality of their work, they got in because of their whatever gender, sex orientation, whatever. They got into that and they started writing all these things, and they were asking for very they have demands that were a little bit out of tune, so the studios needed the writers to fulfill their content. So they tried to come up with a kind of I think they're still on strike. So you ask me, I believe so. I'm not sure. But and
All
then
right.
SAC went as a support of SAC, which is the Union of Actors in America.
Mm-hmm.
Screen Actors Guild went to strike after that, and they were asking for different demands, AI, and there's new policies that needs to be created in terms of that, because you have deep fakes, they have like they do delete the image of your right, so the government has to legislate about these things. They're a little bit uncertain because people can use your likeness, like, so how do you secure your likeness,
Okay.
using film. So there's all this, they came out to some agreements. I'm not a SAC person, but as far as I understand, they can come to an agreement. But that's something that, as the technology evolves, I think the government has to litigate in terms of the rights of your likeness, illegal imaging, and all that stuff. So the the studios, with the technology, what the studios may want to do is to save money. All this crew costs money, all this specialty work costs money. So all the studios want to save money, and they lost money. So they are, because of their profits were not as high as they were expecting with the content they were creating. They are just building studios, creating productions. So I think one of the things that they do is buy international content from Eastern Europe and Eastern countries to fulfill the demand in streaming services and streaming platforms, because they were not producing content for 5 6 months. So the studios are fine for another year, and then we'll see what happens within that year, how the industry evolves and accommodates to the new reality.
Jesus. All right. Some people in Instagram, I'm just opening the tuning here with the live stream because I can't see the Instagram screen, and some people are asking who is he. Okay, he is Orlando Giraldo. He's a film
Gerald.
maker, film director. He introduced himself for the third time in our
Don't me
podcast.
don't give me a hard time. I'm a director. I'm a film
Oh no,
director in television.
yeah, no. What I'm saying is that you introduced yourself for the third time at the beginning of the episode. So yeah, just in brief words, he's a film director, a filmmaker. Did you know that in Ireland and in some parts of the United Kingdom they say film instead of film?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure and Ireland have great actors. I mean,
I am
uh,
not. I am not. I am not. I am not an eligible person in terms of actors, but I know they do, and I know they have
oh,
great musicians as
Ireland,
well.
Irish,
When I came to Ireland, I found out about some singers that I never thought about them being Irish.
Ireland. Ireland is a great country. Has a lot of fantastic musicians, actors, directors,
Yes,
excellent
yes,
movies that I really
yes. They
love.
even won in Galway City. They were the capital, European capital of music, something like that,
Yeah, of
about
course.
3 years ago.
No,
Yeah, very good.
was it Dolores O'Riordan from Cranberries from Ireland, right? To Irish
Yes,
Cranberries.
yeah, yeah.
The early Mace, Dolores O'Riordan, a great
Yeah, and
musician,
the yeah, their lyrics are amazing
talented leader,
because
mother.
their lyrics
Oh my God,
they tell all the story between the conflict with the Northern Ireland
Ira,
and the
yeah,
United Kingdom before. So their
beautiful.
lyrics are amazing.
Belfast was a
Belfast,
movie
yeah.
that was great movie done,
I
and it
was last year. I went to the Game of Thrones to the museum.
yeah.
Very good.
Wow, I love to do
in,
that.
in Belfast. Yeah. All right, Orlando, going back. So I brought all the topic about the strike and the writers and all this because I wanted to know, I'm a nosy person, and I wanted to know if this affected you. And
Absolutely, I
and if
work
it
in the.
did, to what extent?
Of course, last year I work with the guild. I don't do like director. I'm a directors guild member, but I just work as a crew person. So because of the lack of work, like a lot of Canadian content is like probably 30% of what the production that come here, and 70% of the production that come to Canada come from America, right?
Okay.
So our industry, we're 40 million people here in Canada. So our industry really slowed down because it's a small industry, and always the people who, as you said, the guy who knows the guy who knows the guy has access to the jobs, and they just have like one work last year, and they in our guild help us to get some money and funding. But so you have to rethink. We have to rethink about what's going to happen, because I don't know what. I had to continue my job as a filmmaker because I went to Japan, and I visited the grave of the one of the best directors in all time, Akira Kurosawa, and I'm promising that I try to honor film, and that's my mission: is honor film and all the masters that are that posted on my on this side right on this side right here to
Yeah.
show them and go back to cinema. We have to save film, and that's what I'm gonna try to do, because I like the masters, and I think we need to go back to it. It's like vinyl records. We have to go and see the masters and honor their legacy to continue doing good films that inspire people. And I'm pretty sure that there's films that we don't know that have been made at the time.
That's it. Yes, a lot of films are making a film. I'd say it's a lot of effort, a lot of work, and also a lot of money, isn't it? What could be the budget? I know that that changes from film to film,
Yeah.
but for a 20-minute film, what could be the budget?
Well, you're talking a lot of time, because you're talking about music, you're talking about sound, you're talking about a number. It's complex. But now here's where we evolve, and this is where we go into our company, Megafilm Productions, which is my company, megafilmproductions.com. That's my company. So we're gonna try all this knowledge that we have doing independent for 9 years. We're gonna bring it to the people. So if anyone wants to make the film, they can do it with your phone. Your phone has 4K, and we can show. That's where you create your own content. The people, the problem that I see right now is anybody can do a film. That's the thing with AI. Anybody have the tools to have access to film, and a lot of these expenses are going to go down, because there's not going to be cars needed. You can just it can be AI generated or whatever.
Now
But
anybody can write a script, a creative
now you
script.
can write a script, but the execution of that, that's when we come and we can help you. My company, we can help you to do that, because we have experience in casting, we have experience directing actors, we're teaching people. So with AI, film comes to the people. We can help somebody to create a content that is worth watching. Sometimes somebody sent me this link and said share it. I know I said that recently, and I know this person, and okay, so you got to be very careful, because people is putting the love and tears in this project, and they believe in it, and that has a lot of respect, because it takes time to have a crew, have a family, and meet up and try to do some acting. So they come and try to execute this film, and I was like, okay, I was like honestly looking at a lot of technical things, like sound. The sound is like blah 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 blah, high and down, and all these little details, the music, the pacings of the editing, all that stuff. Uh, there's something affect your viewing experience. So when we do film, we do something called suspension of disbelief, which is basically you're watching this film and there's nothing in the film that doesn't. If it is a good film, you're gonna be entertained. You're gonna be immersed within the film. You forget everything else. That's when you know it's a good film. You're not thinking about anything else, but you have something like the sound goes up, your
Is,
brain
is that is that
intuitively.
is that what we call in English the plot or the trama in Spanish? Is that
No,
is that
that's
what it is?
you're talking. Suspension of disbelief is when you, let's say, let's put an example. It's just when you go to a theater to be entertained. You just want something, a movie that you're just gonna see. You just want to watch a good movie. You're gonna be in the movie so good that gets you into the plot, into the story. The plot is the story. The plot is where the film is going. What is we have the arc, and who is this person at the beginning of the film, and what's the end of, and who is this person at the end of the film, right? What was the purpose of the story? What was the teaching? That's the plot. The plot is what we call the MacGuffin. That's what we call MacGuffin productions, because the MacGuffin is that thing that drives the narrative of the film, that propels and make the characters evolve and change, which challenge is going to have to evolve and become somebody else better or worse, and assess, whatever that is that the plot, the film is looking for.
All right, all right. So the plot is not the most important thing in the film. No,
Deploys
it
absolutely.
is.
Well, I mean, this you're talking when you make a film is writing a song,
Okay.
right? The
But like a
first
long song. What's come here? Just in brackets, just a small one. I want to add. What makes a film? Because I've seen films, 20-minute films, and then 2-hour films, and then the short ones are like 15 minutes. So that's just in brackets.
Yeah, so basically, if you're doing that, is you're starting, you have to start with a short film, a short narrative that has a short story, 5 10 minutes, because you have to think how you're gonna keep the people interested, right? And there's a bunch of components that made a film interesting. The first question is how I'm gonna make my viewer stay in the story. Sometimes I read just a title. The title said 2 hours. Holy, you know. So how can I do it? That's why TikTok is so successful on Instagram because it's visual. We're visual animals, and we have to create something that is compelling that that's going to have the person interested. And the way that we do that is what we used to do Akira Kurosawa, the Japanese director, which is humanic film. It's just stories that we cannot relate to. Like, you know what? That happened to me. That happened to somebody else. That person go through a lot of challenges, suffering. Will be able to get out from that, right? And then you get into the story. That's where you get the Christopher Nolan's, the Scorsese, because they tend to, well, not all the time, but they tell you a story. Right? Kira Kurosawa or Stanley Kubrick will tell you a story. You're gonna watch what she's trying to do with that. They have a style. They bring you from this journey from A to B to C, and you're gonna keep watching that.
All right. I'd say the story today in our podcast is very interesting, Orlando, because we still have around 200 people tuned in. So we still have around 200 people tuned. So very good. Thanks.
Oh,
You're
thank you.
keeping them. Yay. All right. Very good. Very interesting. Now I want to move on to some discussion questions, I'd say. And you're kind of touching base on this topic since we started. And
For now, baby.
what are your thoughts or around the debate between traditional cinema and now the streaming platforms? Because before we started with Netflix, and now we have a whole bunch of them, and everything looks like the traditional TV is going to disappear, and now even the traditional TV is going to be platforms. We see it in Colombia, for example, with the sports channels, with Win Sports. Now you can even from here, from Ireland, I can pay the membership. It's like 40,000 pesos, and I can watch all the games from the National League. So I don't need the traditional TV anymore. So what are your thoughts, and what's the difference between streaming and traditional cinema?
Um, I think, um, as I said before, when film started we have to look at after the Second World War with Rossellini, Roberto Rossellini. Uh, there was something called the art houses in America, and there was this small crafted places. So what's gonna happen with film is gonna be like a smaller gathering because there's the groove of people who wants to watch a film and they love that culture of it. So we're gonna become something more cultural. Now, for the masses, for the people need to be entertained. They have nothing else to do, and what's gonna happen is they're gonna be new options or new ways of packaging entertainment. You can do it through video games. You can do it through bundling up and just on your computer and just watching something. You're gonna be able to watch in the new goggles that or the glasses that Google has. So all the entertainment is gonna be brought to you. It's just gonna be finding new ways to deliver that entertainment to your brain or those ideas or whatever that is. That's going to happen. But the crafted cinema, I don't think is going to go away. Um, in the 20s, when the Lumiere brothers started film, it was an ability. So everybody had started making films and small films. And a lot of people in the 20s because it was their experience. So when you listen, let's put the best example with this vinyl records. Vinyl records are back. And I was in Colombia recently, and I was in my girlfriend's farm, and we have this little vinyl player, and we had this comedian called Monte Cristo, and this guy has this vinyl from Monte Cristo, and he pulled it out, impressive. And this guy died like probably what 40 years ago. He played Monte Cristo, and we laugh about some of his jokes, but this it was just an experience listening to this 50-year-old vinyl record of this guy, and that was the experience in that what film is and it will be, to my view, to those specific people like films, all films, is the experience. You're gonna go to the theater for the experience, right? And you can see in festivals like TIFF. I was in TIFF last year. People was watching these films and was lineups for all these films, and they were watching because of the experience. They were laughing together. They were a crafted, a selected group of people watching these films, and because there's a culture, and that culture is not gonna go away. What is going to change for the masses is the delivery of film or the material is going to entertain it. You need something from work and forget about whatever it is, and you're going to go and check sports. And the delivery, that's what's going to change. Basically, that's what the streaming platforms are, whatever way.
Would you reckon the new generations, do they have the same thoughts? Do they give sorry, now, do they give the same importance to the traditional cinema like we give?
Um, I grew up in a different culture. Like I grew up in the 80s, late 70s, 80s, and my parents will bring me um, to the cinema to watch like Mexican mariachi films and whatever they could show me, because there was no entertainment. There was the TV. So for us, I guess for me personally, it's more about the experience, and that's what we need to preserve. Film, even film. People ask me, film or digital, and I work with both mediums. And the film can storage more information than the digital cameras. You can see the difference. And also with film, you cannot alter that. You can just put on a projector and you cannot alter that. With film, with digital media, you can alter dialogue, you can alter how the people dress, you know, the plots. But with real film, the real thing, you cannot alter that. You can just present people. It's going to be a community, or there's still a community for that. And that's where I think we're going.
One final question relating this topic. It's, can you make a full movie with a mobile phone, with a cell phone?
Absolutely. That's what we're trying to do. Um, there was a movie called Tangerine a few years ago. The director did the Florida project as well. He was nominated on Oscar, and he did it for an iPhone 5. So what you do, and this phone is an iPhone 13, and it has 4K. It has 3 cameras.
Yeah.
On top. Can you see it? And then
Yeah.
you can just add different lenses, and you can adapt it, right, to film. So you can just, there's different apps that you can measure the distance, the lenses, and that sort of thing. And then you can just decide which lens you want. You want a 50, you want 100, you want which lens with length you have. So you need some lens to understand what is a lens, how do you stand, one person here, what's the composition of the scene. As you see, I try to, when I work with you, this is my composition. You see, you have clash on my right, on this side right here. You have my directors right here. You have Akira Kurosawa on my other side. So sometimes there's composition. So I'm composing an image. That's what I think the picture is.
That's exactly what I don't do. See the difference? A man,
Yeah, of
an
course.
experienced man that knows what he's doing,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
an unexperienced one that doesn't even know, doesn't have a clue
You
what he's
have
doing.
not asked me about my projects.
That's what I'm going. That's why I said the last question from the previous section. All right, Orlando, with the push for more diversity, I think you mentioned this at the start. Do you feel any pressure to change your casting or to change your scripts or do your dialogues, or not at all?
I work with trans groups, and I work with African. I mean, I'm not against. I mean, that's an important part of their studies, actually, that those polls are about to change. And in fact, in America, having a DE, Diversity, Equality, and Inclusion Committee is illegal because it's against the Constitution of America. So that's illegal. So that those laws are about to change. I mean, I'm all in. If I was just watching something called Beef, and it's all Asian people, like all Koreans, Chinese, and it's not bad. I don't say like I love it, but there's like, and they won an Emmy for that, isn't it? There's Japanese films. There's the 70s have the explosion films with Pangrier. Pangrier, which is still to this day one of my favorite actors from that era. She's a black African American woman. She's a good actress. The quality of your work has nothing to do with all that stuff. It's important, but it's important is that you show Peter Dinklage was talking about dwarf Disney. Peter Dinklage, people love Game of Thrones because of Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage, and he suffers from dwarfism, and he was a great actor. Like we enjoy his acting. Now I was talking about his physical condition. Samuel Washington, the director, I met who I was very I saw him, like Spike Lee, for example. He had that's all these films, and he advocates for you express your culture. That's beautiful in anything. I've seen trans films. Another example is what was the name of the Spanish director who did Kika? Almodovar has been doing LGBTQ films forever. I remember watching All About My Mother, and it was a fantastic film. That has nothing to do with that. I mean, it's just because there's some people trying to impose some policies and stuff like that. And I work with trans people, and that's another conversation. I love trans people, and I have no problem with that. But it's just that within that movement, there's a lot of things going on.
That's it.
Um,
Yes, I remember there there was a movie a few months ago about a Mexican director that was banned in a lot of countries. I don't remember the name. It was about children. Oh my God, you should remember the name. I'd say.
do
Uh,
we have? It has nothing. I
that,
mean,
a couple of months ago, there was a movie. It was banned. The director,
ban?
I think, is Mexican.
I don't know. Oh yeah, yeah. You're talking about Angel Studios. Yeah, I
Yes,
know what you're talking about. The count the kids put the children
yes,
were like commercialized.
yeah,
Yeah, I watched
yeah.
that movie.
That movie was banned. They didn't
It
run
was
any.
subversive. It
Yeah.
was showing about the real spirit of some of the Hollywood and elites.
What's
That
the
they
title of the movie
tra-
again? I just want to remember.
Son of Light or something like that. It's in Netflix actually.
Yeah,
They make a
something
lot
like
of
that.
money. They have a low budget. They have it in Disney for 4 years, and Disney didn't want to touch it. And then Angel Studios was able to produce it. You have to search for that movie. It's gonna drive me nuts.
Yes, yes. I don't remember. I don't remember. All right, Orlando. Now, what projects are you currently working on, and what can you tell us about them? I know you're always very, very discreet about it. Obviously, but what's coming from your side as a filmmaker?
Well, first and foremost, all our films. I was about Sound of Light. I forgot the, I forgot the name, but it's Angel Studios. They make a lot of money. There was theaters were packed, and it was a little exaggerated, but it was a fantastic, fantastic film.
Yeah, I
Um,
know in many countries they banned it.
yeah, but it's not
Um,
that. It's a
yeah,
great film. It's a subversive. Make it to Netflix, and
and then
people
we
like it.
can
It's a
we can
great.
talk about that one, and we can talk about the Barbie in another podcast, not in this
Yeah,
one.
absolutely. So the second film that we did in 2020, it's called Time and Space, inspired by Kurt Sagan. Got just recently awarded as the best short, 1 minute short. Uh, Pay You Bill, starring actor AC Peterson, who worked with Sylvester Stallone and Tulsa King last year. He was in Pay You Bill. We also got an award as the best short comedy in another festival. And the movie Pagans about this African. You're talking about diversity. All our films are diverse. Pagans is about a black student in law school who has to recur to dealings with the mob to get treatment for his father's cancer. So I work with different people. I work with the trans. We did the project. We worked for years on the project the answer for the trans community in St. Stephen's House. We unfortunately we couldn't continue. There were differences in the direction of the project. And I thought that was enough time to we put a lot of effort into it, and unfortunately didn't work. But I still love the community right there. We were pagans. You're talking about being diverse. Pagan is a black African Canadian film with black actors and white actors, and why not? So I work with anybody basically. I mean, it just I'm not probably an expert in how a Spiley can understand the race, but I also did movie in Japan. I'm working a movie called uh, Sueña, which is the bigger an hour documentary that I'm working on. This Japan, Pereira, Colombia, and Canada. So this multi-diverse country. So we have Japanese actors, we have Colombian actors, we have, you know, it doesn't. We talk about with coffee cultures. This is gonna be we're working on that right now. And within that, we have something called Japan Trilogy, which is 3 short films shot in Japan. So I work with Asian actors and trying to learn more about the Asian culture. And you have to learn. You're not and not Japanese per se, but it's just a take of somebody who is not Japanese with the whole respect and honor. So we have different projects. It doesn't really appeal to me that I work with anybody, and Pagans also got an award as the best crime short comedy. So all the films that we made had awards. So we know what we're doing.
That's
And
it.
I read something you call perceptions.
That's key. That's key. Yes, that's key. But you said you were doing something in Colombia behind cameras. Can you tell us more
Yeah,
about it, or is it
yeah,
is it also?
absolutely. So we're working on something called Sueña. So it's been a 4-year project, which is started like as a COVID project. But I spoke with one of my producers, or the person I'm working on, in the Lalita Krishna, who is probably possibly going to be our producer, hopefully. She works in Rogers documentary, and she said nobody wants to talk about COVID-19. I'm pretty sure nobody wants to talk about it. So we have actors from LA at first. Some of the actors from LA pulled out; they didn't want to be part of the project. So we decided to call Sueña Chronicles of a Filmmaker. Basically, it's myself talking about my childhood in Colombia and how I related with Japan, how I related with Colombia, and how I relate with the actors here. It's a journey to the 3 different cultures. It's a journey to rescue over coffee culture that has been a little bit destroyed with the amount of tourism. It's about an actress like Elizabeth Gonzalez who, against all odds, found her school in Pereira. It's a story of Giancarlo di Pereira, happens to be my brother, and he's tried to succeed in the industry in spite of being an older man. In Canada, we have a comedian, Annie Bayo, who just won. Annie Bayo just won as a producer. She's the producer of Pay Your Bill. She won an award as the best comedy in a small festival. As a comedian, we have the story of Pat Powers, who is a musician in Toronto. We have this story of Patricia Higueros, who is an actress from Hungary, who is trying to make it within the industry. In Japan, we have Keitai Samurai. He started studying samurai because he wanted to be like Jim Carrey and honor his samurai culture. And we have Kenta Ogawa, who has a fantastic story of survival. He's an actor as well. So we have a different, diverse. We have a Talum. We have many artists. There's artists around the world, and we're gonna have a lot of stories. We're gonna talk about messengers. So it's a journey. It's a cultural journey through my childhood in Colombia as a child, and what I like a filmmaking and related with the country, related with Toronto. So it's gonna
Wow,
be very exciting. Yeah,
it
it's a
seems
journey
very
to the coffee
interesting.
culture.
Do you have the length, because it says
We
like,
have the rise of Transito Libre from Pereira.
okay,
Transito Libre is a very band. Herman Alvarez is my friend, and we're gonna use Transito's music in our film. So we're happy about that too. So that's cool.
wow, very good. Do you have a launch day or not yet?
No, I just next year sometime. I probably haven't. I don't want to say any tentative date, but I'm gonna try. I'm working with the interviews, a lot of interviews, and a lot of finding, some shift and everything. But I have a date that probably I'll say September next year. But we'll see. I'm gonna try to have everything ready before
Valentine's Day
September.
in Colombia, so it's a good day. It's a good day to
Yeah,
launch it.
yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but we'll see. We're gonna be different festivals. We're trying to work a couple people who join us as a producer, so we have a name to attach to the project that will help us to open doors. We're working still on it. We'll see. You never know.
very good, Orlando. Two more questions before we finish. How has your approach to filmmaking evolved over time?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of people. You have. I was thinking about that today because you have a lot of people who is a naysayer.
Okay,
The people. Somebody told me, one of my closest friends, that you don't have it on you. You know, and and you have to do what you love. Life is very short. You have to pay bills and all that stuff, but art is part of life. If you don't have art on your life, where is to live? So I think you have to be consistent and keep going and keep believing that whatever art or work you do, you have to do it with love, and that comes from the love and the dedication you have to that. I don't know if it's gonna make any money out of any films or anything like that. It's very very difficult, but I love the art, and I'm just gonna die with it because it's part of my DNA.
that's it. Can you live? Can you live out of filmmaking?
I did for some time. We're trying to relaunch this thing about teaching how to people make movies with their phones, but if they want to learn about filmmaking, we make it an immersive. We're starting to design the courses to make a practical experience how to make a film. So I can teach people how to cast actors, how to direct actors, how to all that stuff. I can teach because I have the experience. I have 10 years of experience. Apply for funding, apply for this, apply for that. We had this experience that we're gonna bring the film to the people. No rules. There is no rules. The rules are the one that you impose yourself. Have
That's
at
it.
use this AI because film is in the palm of your hands. Now do it correctly.
That's it. Maybe you can
That's what
sell
we're coming.
courses. You can sell courses in platforms like Hotmart and
Uh huh.
others, and
Exactly. So the idea is
that would that
keep
would be
financing the other projects that I'm working on.
that would
Teach
skyrocket.
people, have
Skyrocket.
my students, because I'm a teacher like you.
Yeah,
I've always been a teacher. So I'm a teacher as a personal trainer. I'm working on designing my own brand of fitness. So we're starting designing that too because we have success in with mobility and all that stuff. We have in filmmaking. So it's a teaching. I've always been a teacher my whole life. So not in I've been in the classroom for a little bit, but I also thought I can transfer that skill to other courses and teach other people what we
so
do
so
because what we do is
we're talking at the end. We're talking about some entrepreneurship at the same time. You know, filmmaking
yes.
and being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, you can help actors to do a little bit auditions better. We can help people to move from through fitness, fitness for life, mobility. That's one of the things that we try to do. Films to make films that are entertaining. That is, I want to watch the film. I want to watch the film because I've seen so many talented people, and they just need some guidance. And
That's it.
talent sometimes is guide, because you can be talented, but you need it's like you have a pro, but you have to polish it.
That's
There's some
it. Yes,
techniques that the people do learn, and we can just pass that knowledge to others and feel happy with their achievements. It's very nice when
that's it.
see somebody making a film and you're like, wow, I helped that person to accomplish that.
That's it. Yes, yes. That's key when you teach. They say to teach is to touch lives. That's what they say. That's
Yeah.
the saying. To teach is to touch lives. Come here, Orlando. Last question. Looking ahead, what's the next big challenge you have
uh,
within your career?
well, first and foremost, I'm trying to put my life together personally and financially. That's the first thing. That's the first two things that we have to do. um, we're working on it and continue with the projects, entrepreneurship, I guess, um, and keep living the dream in a different way. If it is not with the guild, or I'm part of the guild, but I don't know what's gonna happen with the guild. The guild is low, and continue with the projects. I'm gonna finish my projects that I've been working so hard because there's a lot of people who we're working with, like that they trust us with their stuff. So we have to finish that. We owe that to them, and we're gonna finish those things until the end, and then from there we'll see what happens, and do more films or stuff like that. And now I'm writing a new project. I never expect doing perceptions, and I was just thinking about that last night. So new things always have things
New
on
things to
their
come,
mind slipping
new
and working on.
challenges. Yes. All right. This was Orlando Giraldo. Orlando, please stay with me behind cameras. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today,
Okay.
and I hope Orlando could come back to us a fourth time to give us an update about his career and about all he's doing, and obviously the ones that are from Colombia, especially if you're living abroad. I think we are very eager to watch that film that is coming out next year in Colombia, or about Colombian culture and coffee culture and all that.
Japanese culture and
And
Canadian culture.
Japanese and Canadian, yes, yes. Would it be where would it be, like the scenes and everything? Will they be in Colombia,
Um, I
or
was shooting.
in the three countries?
Yeah, we have different. So what I'm working on right now is the edit is just connecting the stories. So I'm using my childhood of Colombia, like where I grew up, what I saw. Then I connect my childhood in Colombia con this country. These countries are very, very part of my life.
Okay,
I grew up with Japanese culture when I was a kid, like probably you did. All the manga and all that stuff. I grew up with
yeah,
Japanese culture, and it's a country that I really love. Canada was always, when I was in grade seven, I wanted to go to Toronto, and then one day I was living here. That's why I said sueña, because I was soñando when I was a kid,
yeah.
and I ended up in Canada. So I was looking grade seven, looking at that book that my brother had. My brother has a geography book. He gave it to me, and there were two things that impact me from that film when I was in grade seven. So one is I opened the page and it says Toronto, Canada, and there was something about that picture,
I
and I'm here.
remember it.
I manifested that, and then the back cover of the film, the back cover was Mount Fuji in Japan, and I was there a couple of years ago. So it's like
Unbelievable.
you manifest the
The
13
power
year
of
old,
thinking.
the 14-year-old manifested those things, and that's what it's is about. Is
Yeah,
manifesting your dreams, whatever those are.
the power of thinking, the law of attraction. Oh, we have our next three episodes, Orlando, from
Yeah, really?
last 3 minutes. All right. Thanks, everyone. Orlando, please stay with me so we can touch base once again. See you guys
You know,
in
live,
the
love,
next
and
one.
prosper. You know what this is? Star Trek.
Yeah.